Hey, Tribe Builder! I'm Muffin Mendoza, and welcome back to the Brown Mama's Tribe Builder course made for any leader building community with care and intention. This is our final video. You made it all the way to the end, and I'm so proud of you. But before we get started, we have to take our 30-second commitment and say our manifesta. So you already know by now you should have this memorized. So take your deep breath and repeat after me. We build community. We are moms, grandmas, dads, uncles, and aunties, and neighbors. We are childcare workers, nurses, bus drivers, and business owners. We are the village. We fill in the gap. We listen to stories. We honor the presence and validate the vision of everyday people. When one season ends and the next begins, when needs shift, questions change, and life gets real, we are there. We are space. We hold space. Space to learn, space to connect, space to lead, space to grow. Thank y'all for being here with me again on video 8, where we are going to be talking about legacy. We are going to be talking about evolution. We are going to be talking about being the bridge. And so we have to talk about where real leadership ends. And where it ends is with stewardship. Because whether you started the community or you stepped in after the community was already moving, you need to understand this. You can start community, you can organize it, you can love it, you can lead it, but you cannot own it. Not the people, not their stories, not their belonging. And I want you to hear this clearly. Your role can change and it can still be sacred. Your frequency can change and still be faithful. Your life can shift and you don't have to die for the community to prove you cared. You are a part of this community you've built. And therefore, you're going to evolve in and out of it and through it and come back to it at different stages in your life. Here's the life cycle I want you to remember, because healthy communities evolve, and so do healthy people. Phase 1 of community is there's a spark. Somebody initiates, somebody or some people initiate. People come because of clarity, because of energy, because of invitation. And your job is to be consistency, to be safety, and to be purpose. Then there's phase 2. You provide structures or rhythms, agreements, gathering patterns, decision making, boundaries. Your job, you create systems, you create roles, expectations, and transparency. And there's phase 3, shared leadership. Others host, facilitate, welcome, moderate, and plan. And your job is to train, to trust, to delegate, to publicly bless new leaders. And then there's phase 4, which is flight. Community breathes without one center. The community develops its own voice and future. And your job is to protect the culture, support transitions, and release control. The reality is, a healthy community eventually outgrows the founder. And that's not betrayal, that's success. So there's a difference between ownership and stewardship. And let's talk about it. Ownership says, this is mine. Stewardship says, this is sacred and it must live beyond me. And signs that you're drifting into ownership. And this is no shame. Do not be ashamed of this, because I was definitely at a space where I thought that I owned Brown Mamas. And Brown Mamas quickly showed me, you don't own us. We are community and we're going to do what we want to do. So let's lay out some of these signs that you're drifting into ownership. Again, no shame, just awareness. When you need to approve everything. When you feel threatened when others lead. When you hoard access, info, partnerships, or visibility. When disagreements feel like betrayal. When you believe you're the only one who can do it right. Those are signs that you have clutched too hard and you need to loosen your grip. On the other side of that, signs that you're practicing stewardship are you document what you do so that other people can do it. You invite feedback without punishment. You share credit and mentor leaders. You build structures that don't require your constant presence. That's a big one. You can step back and the community still holds. So I want you to say this out loud for me. I am not the community. I am a member of the community. My role is leadership for a season, not possession forever. I am a member of the community. If you're the initiator or the founder, I want to give you some practical roles. Well, I want to give you some practical roles for both if you're a founder or you're a leader who has stepped in. Um, so this first part, I want to give you a plan. It's kind of like a plan, but you can write this down, get your notebook. So if you are the initiator or the founder, I want you to make sure that before you start anything, you have a release with love plan. And so here are 4 moves that you can make consistently throughout your tribe builder journey to help you ensure that you actually are able to evolve to being a good steward of your community. Number 1, going back again, name the roles: host, helper, holder. And let that continue to evolve. Supervisor, moderator, trend coordinator. If you don't have roles, if the only role is founder, you're a dictator. Number 2, write a how we do things here statement. And that should really outline, like, what are your missions? What are your norms? What is your confidentiality culture? How do you make decisions? How does repair work? Number 3, build a leadership pipeline. If you've attended 3 gatherings, you can host a gathering. If you've contributed for a year, then you can be considered a leader in our community or a welcome guide. You got to make sure that you have essentially a community workforce that constantly understands that your role isn't the only important role and that there are other leaders in the community. And then you've got to practice a soft exit so it's not dramatic. How do you practice an exit while you're still leading? Take a week off per month. Rotate facilitation. Let somebody else run the agenda while you observe. All the meetings don't need to be run by you. Normalize rotation as culture, not crisis. So there should always be somebody else that's able to take a role. Once your community starts to grow, you should have more than one host. You should have more than one helper, more than one holder. Let people share. If your presence is required for the community to survive, you've built dependency, not community. And there is a huge difference. Now, part B, if you're somebody that's stepping in after an initial phase, it's called the enter with respect plan, right? And if you're coming in after the beginning, maybe you're the new moderator, the new host, the new organizer. Here's how you lead without taking over, right? Because if you're coming into something that is already existing, and we don't want you to have Christopher Columbus syndrome. So the first step is to listen. You may even want to take 2 to 4 weeks to just listen, learn the culture before you change the culture. Notice what people protect and what they avoid and what they celebrate, because you don't own this here. It already existed. Ask before you improve. Okay, you see something that could be made better, and maybe it's perfectly valid, but you have to ask some questions. What's working here that you don't want to lose? Because your intrusion could actually make people lose something that's very valuable to them. What do you wish felt easier? And what's one change you'd welcome? And then communicate that. Don't tell people what they need to change. Changes happen in small plots. So what you might want to do instead next is test one new rhythm for 1 month. Instead of just changing something, say, hey, we're going to try something out. Let's see if it works. And notice if you give pushback. And also notice how people are engaging with the change. gather feedback. Lastly, honor legacy and name continuity. Publicly acknowledge founders early as the early builders. Like just because a founder is allowing you to do something, or just because a founder is on their way out, doesn't mean they don't deserve respect, because they had to put in the work for you to be able to take up space. And keep the mission visible. Let members recognize themselves in the community even as it evolves. Storytelling is such a beautiful part of honoring what exists. And when you give community members an opportunity to tell the story how they remember it, it allows for these very beautiful variations of what the community is, what it means to people, and how it is still being lived through. So you don't want to come into community and disrupt that. Leadership after the beginning is not a takeover, it's a handoff, it's a relay, right? And remembering that you are a bridge. There are beginnings, endings, and making space. And every member of the community goes through this. Every member of the community goes through beginnings, endings, and times when they're just making and holding space. One of the most important truths of community stewardship, especially if you're someone who loves hard, holds people close, and takes responsibility seriously, is that there will be beginnings and endings in community. Every community member you start with will not be a community member you end with. And that is not failure. That's not betrayal. That is just life. Your job is not to hold people in place. Your job is to be a bridge for people. Bridge leadership means people come when they need what this space provides. They stay for a season, they grow, and sometimes they go. If you try to keep everybody, you'll turn love into control, and control will always poison community, quietly or loudly. So there's two sacred skills of a tribe builder. And the first one is to release with grace. When someone steps back, disappears, or outgrows the space, your leadership is to bless them, not resent them. You can say, "Thank you for what you brought. I'm wishing you well. You'll always have love here. No hard feelings, only gratitude." Those are some of the things you can say. But what's most important is you help people to understand that leaving the community does not mean we don't love you. And then also make space without panic. And at the same time, almost simultaneously, that you make room for new people, because community is not a closed circle, it's a living body. So you keep the welcomes warm, you keep the mission clear, you keep the culture steady, and you let community breathe. So if somebody important just left, you don't panic, but you also don't just rush on to the next thing. You got to make room. You've got to give space. You've got to give inches to things so that people have an opportunity to process, and processing doesn't turn into drama when you try to just move on. So just remembering, I'm not a cage for my people. I am a bridge for my people. And so I just want us to do a quick grounding exercise, because this is our last video. And I need us to understand, as a part of this final process, that we can release something with love and make space with trust. So I'm going to put both of our hands on our heart, because tribe building is heart work. It is work that requires us to give so much, but it is also work that when you leave it, you want to leave it so full. Like you want to leave so full that you just have so much to give. You've learned so many lessons. You've loved so many people. You've seen so many iterations of yourself that when you release it, it's like you're making space for the most beautiful thing. So I want us to inhale for 4, exhale for 6, and then we're going to say to ourselves, I can release with love and make space with trust. So inhale for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can release with love and make space with trust. One more time. Inhale 4. I can release with love and make space with trust. All right, tribe builders. So here is your final assignment, and this might be the most communal thing that you can do. And I want you to write a short statement that takes emphasis off of you and places it where it belongs, on we. So you're going to choose one version, whether you're initiating or whether you are entering an existing community. If you are initiating, you're going to write out this statement: I am not building this alone. I am starting this with name names. We are building this together, and I honor what each person brings. Again, if you are initiating, I want you to write out, I am not building this alone. I am starting this with my best friend, my neighbor from down the street, the organization I plan to partner with. We are building this together, and I honor what each person brings. Now, if you are entering an existing community and you're stepping into leadership, I want you to write out, I am not entering this community alone. I am entering this with the former leader, my new administrative assistant, this trusted leader from the community. I commit to learning, listening, and stewarding alongside them, not above them. And I want you to write, regardless of which one you picked, I want you to write one line to seal it. And when seasons change, I will release with grace and make space with love. And when seasons change, I will release with grace and make space with love. Whew. Our communities will not collapse because we change. But if we are anchored in our community, if we are anchored in we, the community can live and breathe beyond any one person. Your job is not to be the sun. Your job is to help the garden grow. Start it, organize it, lead it, and then make room for it to breathe and evolve. Thank you for building with care. Thank you for choosing clean power. And wherever you lead next, remember, community is alive. Let it breathe. Peace.